The vast chamber echoed with the hum of ancient machinery as Dr. Elena Reeves approached the towering stasis pod. Her heart raced, a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through her veins. After decades of research and preparation, humanity was about to awaken its greatest weapon against the oppressive Galactic Council, the Celestial Killers. Elena's fingers danced across the control panel, initiating the revival sequence. Steam hissed from the pod as its metallic surface began to crack open. She held her breath, waiting to see the face of Earth's legendary defender. As the mist cleared, a figure emerged, tall, imposing, and unmistakably inhuman. This was Commander Zarak, leader of the Celestial Killers. His crystalline skin shimmered under the chamber's harsh lights, and his eyes, like swirling galaxies, fixed upon Elena. Human. Zarak's voice resonated, a sound like distant thunder. How long have we slumbered? Elena swallowed hard. 5,000 years, Commander. Earth needs you now more than ever. Zarak stepped from the pod, his movements fluid despite millennia of stasis. The threat we were created to face, does it still exist? Yes, Elena nodded grimly. The Galactic Council has become exactly what your creators feared. They've subjugated countless worlds, Earth included. We're little more than a resource to be exploited. The chamber trembled as more stasis pods began to open, revealing Zarak's fellow celestial killers. Each was a unique blend of organic and inorganic matter, created by ancient humans as the ultimate weapon against cosmic threats. Tell me everything, Zarak commanded, his galactic eyes narrowing. Elena led the celestial killers to a holographic display, quickly bringing them up to speed on humanity's dire situation. The Galactic Council, once a promise of unity among the stars, had devolved into a tyrannical regime. Earth, along with many other worlds, groaned under the weight of oppressive quotas and cruel enforcers. As the briefing concluded, alarms blared throughout the underground facility. Elena's comm unit crackled to life, filling the chamber with a frantic voice. Dr. Reeves, Council ships have breached our orbital defenses. They're heading straight for your location. Zarak turned to his awakened brethren, a silent communication passing between them. It seems our test comes sooner than expected, he said, his voice calm despite the chaos erupting around them. We were created to be the shield and sword of humanity. It's time we fulfilled that purpose. The facility shook as the first impacts struck the surface above. Elena looked to Zarak, fear and hope warring in her eyes. Can you really save us? The commander's crystalline form seemed to pulse with inner light. We are the celestial killers, forged by the ingenuity of your ancestors. The Galactic Council is about to learn why we earned that name. With a gesture, Zarak summoned swirling energy around his team. Elena watched in awe as the celestial killers prepared for battle, their bodies transforming into living weapons. Stay safe, Dr. Reeves, Zarak said as he and his warriors began to phase through the facility's walls. We'll deal with these invaders. Then we'll take the fight to the stars. As the celestial killers vanished, Elena rushed to the command center. She had to coordinate Earth's remaining defenses and witness humanity's ancient guardians in action. The war for freedom was about to begin, and the Galactic Council had no idea what was coming for them. Celestial fury unleashed. The sky above the secret facility erupted in chaos as the celestial killers burst from the ground, their crystalline forms shimmering against the backdrop of fire and smoke. Council dropships swarmed the area, disgorging waves of robotic enforcers and alien shock troops. Zarak's voice boomed across the battlefield, a sound that seemed to shake the very air. Brothers and sisters, show these oppressors the power they've awakened. The celestial killers moved with impossible grace, their bodies morphing and adapting to the fight. Vexera, Zarak's second-in-command, extended her limbs into razor-sharp blades, slicing through a squad of enforcers as if they were made of paper. Kron, the team's living fortress, expanded his mass to shield fleeing human civilians from enemy fire. In the command center, Elena watched the battle unfold through a network of cameras. Her fingers flew across holographic displays, coordinating the remaining Earth defense forces to support the celestial killers. "Focus fire on the dropships," she ordered. "Give our guardians room to work." Outside, Zarak faced off against the Council's field commander, a towering Kroloxi warrior encased in energy-shielded battle armor. The alien sneered, mandibles clicking. "So, the humans have some new toys. It won't save them from the Council's judgment." Zarak's eyes flashed, galaxies swirling in their depths. "We are not toys, creature. We are the reckoning." He raised his hand, and a beam of pure cosmic energy lanced forth, shattering the Kroloxi's shields and sending him crashing to the ground. As the battle raged, news of the celestial killer's awakening spread like wildfire across Earth's resistance networks. In hidden bunkers and secret bases, humans watched in awe as their ancient guardians turned the tide against the Council's forces. Elena's comm crackled with an incoming transmission. "Dr. Reeves, this is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. We're picking up multiple Council capital ships entering the system. Whatever you've unleashed down there has them scared." "Understood, Admiral," Elena replied, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Can you buy us some time? We'll do our best, but we're severely outgunned. These celestial killers of yours better have some tricks up their sleeves for space combat." As if in answer to the Admiral's concerns, Zarak's voice resonated through the command center. "Dr. Reeves, the surface is secure. It's time we took this fight to the stars." Elena watched in amazement as the celestial killers gathered in a tight formation. Their bodies began to shift and merge, components interlocking like a cosmic puzzle. Within moments, where 7 individual warriors had stood, a sleek starship now hovered, its hull pulsing with the same ethereal energy that powered the celestial killers. "By all that's holy," Elena whispered, then quickly regained her composure. "Admiral Chen, reinforcements are on the way, like nothing you've ever seen before." The celestial killer ship streaked into the sky, leaving a trail of shimmering stardust in its wake. As it broke through the atmosphere, the Council fleet loomed before it, a wall of titanic warships bristling with weaponry. Inside the merged form of the celestial killers, Zarak's consciousness guided their shared body. For too long, the Council has used its technological superiority to dominate others. Let us show them what true power looks like. The ship accelerated, weaving through a barrage of energy beams and missiles with impossible agility. It retaliated with weapons that defied conventional physics. Miniature black holes that swallowed smaller craft whole, tendrils of cosmic energy that shorted out ship systems, and beams of concentrated starlight that burned through the toughest armor. On the Council's command ship, Supreme Executor Vexlor watched the battle with growing horror. "What is that abomination?" he snarled. "Bring all weapons to bear. Obliterate it." But the combined might of the Council fleet seemed to barely scratch the surface of the celestial killer ship. It danced through their formation, leaving destruction in its wake. Back on Earth, Elena coordinated with resistance cells worldwide, using the distraction of the space battle to strike at Council ground forces. "This is our chance," she broadcast on secure channels. "While their eyes are turned to the sky, we take back our planet." As battles raged in space and on the ground, a new hope began to spread among the humans. For the first time in generations, they dared to believe that freedom from the Council's tyranny might be possible. But Elena knew this was only the beginning. The Council controlled vast swaths of the galaxy. This victory, however decisive, was just the first step in a long war for liberation. As she watched the celestial killers decimate the Council fleet, she couldn't help but wonder what other secrets from humanity's past might be waiting to be awakened. Ripples across the stars. As the dust settled on Earth and the remnants of the Council fleet retreated into hyperspace, the true magnitude of what had transpired began to sink in. The celestial killers, still merged into their starship form, descended through the atmosphere, landing gracefully near the command center. Elena rushed out to meet them, her heart pounding with a mixture of exhilaration and apprehension. The ship shimmered and separated. The 7 celestial killers were forming into their individual shades. Zarak stepped forward, his crystalline form pulsing with residual energy from the battle. "Dr. Reeves," he intoned, "the immediate threat has been neutralized. But this is merely the opening salvo in a much larger conflict." Elena nodded grimly. "I know. The Council won't take this lying down. They'll be back, and in greater numbers." "Then we must prepare," Vexera added, her blade-like limbs retracting. "Your world has been under the Council's heel for too long. Your people have forgotten how to fight." As if on cue, Admiral Chen's hologram flickered to life nearby. "Dr. Reeves, Celestial Killers, we're receiving transmissions from all over the sector. Word of your victory is spreading fast. Oppressed worlds are rising up, inspired by what happened here." Zarek's galaxy eyes seemed to burn brighter. "Good. The Council's greatest weapon has always been fear. We've shown the galaxy that they can be defeated." Over the next few days, Earth became a hive of activity. The Celestial Killers worked tirelessly with human scientists and engineers, sharing knowledge that had been lost for millennia. Ancient technologies were unearthed and reactivated, defenses were bolstered, and a plan began to take shape. Elena found herself at the center of it all, coordinating between the Celestial Killers and Earth's leaders. As she pored over star charts in the war room, Zarak approached her. "Your mind works in fascinating ways, Dr. Reeves," he observed. "You see patterns where others see chaos." Elena smiled tiredly. "That's kind of you to say. I just hope it's enough. The Council has had thousands of years to entrench their power. We're still so outmatched." Zarak placed a crystalline hand on her shoulder, surprisingly gentle for a being of such power. "Numbers and technology are not everything. Your ancestors understood this when they created us. The human spirit, your adaptability and determination, these are weapons the Council cannot comprehend." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from one of the monitoring stations. "Dr. Reeves, we're picking up a massive energy surge at the edge of the system. It's a Council world ship." Elena's blood ran cold. World ships were the stuff of nightmares, mobile planets converted into engines of war. If the Council had sent one here, it meant they were done playing games. Zarak's form tensed, preparing for battle. "It seems the true test is upon us sooner than expected. Gather the others, Dr. Reeves. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when humanity and its guardians stand as one." As alarms blared throughout Earth's defenses, Elena couldn't help but feel a spark of hope amidst the fear. They had awoken the Celestial Killers, yes, but in doing so, they had also reawakened humanity's fighting spirit. Whatever the Council threw at them, they would face it together. The battle for Earth, and for the freedom of countless oppressed worlds, was about to begin in earnest, and the Galactic Council was about to learn just how badly they had underestimated the species they had sought to subjugate. The world ship cometh. The world ship's arrival cast a shadow across Earth, both literal and figurative. Its massive form blotted out the sun as it took up position in high orbit, a looming testament to the Council's might. But where once such a sight would have crushed all hope of resistance, now it was met with grim determination. Elena stood in the war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the world ship's approach. Beside her, Zarak and the other Celestial Killers studied the enemy with analytical precision. "Its size is formidable," Kron rumbled, his fortress-like body shifting uneasily. "Even our combined power may not be enough to destroy it outright." Vexera's blade limbs clicked thoughtfully. "Then we don't destroy it. We infiltrate it." All eyes turned to her as she continued. "The Council relies on fear and overwhelming force. They won't expect a direct assault on their command center." Zarak nodded, galaxies swirling in his eyes. "A bold strategy. Dr. Reeves, what do Earth's defenses look like?" Elena pulled up a tactical overlay. We've retrofitted our satellites with the energy weapons you provided. They won't do much damage, but they might keep the world ship distracted. Our ground-based ion cannons are stronger, but the world ship will likely stay out of range. Good, Zarak said. We'll need that distraction. Celestial killers, prepare for boarding action. Dr. Reeves, I want you with us. Alina blinked in surprise. Me? But I'm not a warrior. No, Zarak agreed, but you understand Council technology better than we do. We'll need your expertise to navigate their systems once we're inside. As the team prepared for their daring mission, the world ship made its presence known. A booming voice echoed across all communication channels. People of Earth, I am High Executor Malax of the Galactic Council. Your recent act of rebellion has been noted. Surrender the abominations you call celestial killers immediately, or face annihilation. Elena looked to Zarak, who simply shook his head. They fear us, he said softly. Good. Fear makes them predictable. With a final check of their equipment, a mix of advanced human tech and the celestial killer's own otherworldly abilities, the team made their way to the launch bay. The plan was audacious. While Earth's defenses engaged the world ship, the celestial killers would transform into their ship form, with Elena secured inside, and make a stealth approach. As they prepared to launch, Admiral Chen's voice came over the comms. Godspeed, all of you. We'll give them hell from down here. The bay doors opened, revealing the ominous bulk of the world ship dominating the sky. Elena felt a moment of vertigo as the celestial killers merged around her, forming their sleek vessel. Then they were off, streaking towards the colossal enemy ship. Earth's defenses roared to life, a barrage of energy beams and missiles arcing towards the world ship. Most were swatted aside by its powerful shields, but the assault served its purpose, drawing attention away from the small, shimmering craft rapidly closing the distance. Inside the celestial killer ship, Alina monitored their approach. We're nearing the outer hull, she reported. I'm detecting a weak point in their shields, possibly a docking port. Excellent. Zarak's voice resonated around her. Prepare for breach. The ship corkscrewed through a momentary gap in the world ship's defenses, then seemed to phase directly through the hull. In an instant, they were inside, the celestial killers separating back into their individual forms with Elena at their center. Alarms blared as the world ship's internal defenses registered the intrusion. Move fast, Zarak commanded. We find the command center and end this. As they raced through the massive ship's corridors, battling security drones and council shock troops, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the contrast. Here she was, a human scientist, fighting alongside beings of almost godlike power to decide the fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds. The Galactic Council had ruled through fear for millennia, but they were about to learn that they had feared the wrong thing. It wasn't the celestial killers they should have been worried about. It was what those ancient guardians represented, the indomitable spirit of humanity, reawakened and ready to reclaim its destiny among the stars. Heart of the beast. The interior of the world ship was a maze of towering corridors and cavernous chambers, each filled with exotic technology that hummed with barely contained power. Elena and the celestial killers moved swiftly, their progress a blur of combat and calculated advance. Vexera took point, her blade limbs slicing through security drones with fluid grace. Kron brought up the rear, his massive form providing cover and occasionally reconfiguring to bridge gaps or break through barriers. Zarak stayed close to Elena, his cosmic energy deflecting enemy fire. The command center should be near the core, Elena said, consulting a holomap she'd managed to download from a terminal. But security will be tightest there. As if to punctuate her words, a massive blast door slammed shut ahead of them, and the corridor began to fill with a sickly green gas. Neural toxin, Zarak announced. Harmless to us, but lethal to you, Dr. Reeves. Without hesitation, the celestial killer enveloped Elena in a cocoon of his own crystalline substance, filtering the air. Through the semi-transparent shell, Alina watched as her companions dealt with the new threat. Kron stepped forward, his body expanding to fill the corridor. With a grunt of effort, he began to push against the blast door. The metal groaned and buckled under his immense strength. Meanwhile, Vex Era and the others fended off waves of elite council guards that poured in from side passages. The close quarters made the fight chaotic, a whirlwind of energy blasts, slashing limbs, and bodies being flung about. Just when it seemed they might be overwhelmed, Kron let out a triumphant roar. The blast door gave way with a screech of tortured metal, revealing the vast chamber beyond. They had reached the world ship's core. The chamber was a technological marvel, a miniature star contained within layers of force fields, powering the entire vessel. Suspended above it on a hovering platform was their target, the command center. And there, surrounded by banks of holographic displays and flanked by heavily armed guards, stood High Executor Malax himself. The alien leader's 4 eyes narrowed as he beheld the intruders. So, he growled, the myths were true. Humanity's pet abominations come to play hero. Zarak stepped forward, his form seeming to grow larger, more imposing. We are no one's pets, Executor. We are the judgment your kind has long deserved. Malax barked a laugh. Judgment. Look around you, creature. This world ship alone has the power to reduce your precious Earth to ash, and it is but one of many in the Council's arsenal. What hope do you have against the combined might of 1,000,000 worlds? Elena felt a chill at his words. Even with the celestial killers, how could they stand against such overwhelming odds? But then Zarak spoke, his voice resonating with power that seemed to shake the very air. You speak of might, Executor, but you understand nothing of true strength. Your council has grown fat and complacent, relying on numbers and brute force. You've forgotten what it means to struggle, to adapt, to evolve. As he spoke, the other celestial killers spread out, taking up strategic positions around the chamber. Belina realized they were preparing for something big. Zarak continued, his eyes blazing like twin supernovas. Humanity, for all its flaws, possesses a spirit that cannot be quantified or contained. It is that spirit that created us, that spirit that will break the chains you've placed on countless worlds. Malax's composure finally cracked. Enough. Guards, obliterate these intruders. But before the council forces could act, the celestial killers moved as one. They raised their arms, and streams of cosmic energy coursed between them, forming a complex geometric pattern. At the center of this pattern, a sphere of pure, blinding light began to form. Alina's scientific mind raced to comprehend what she was witnessing. It was as if the celestial killers were condensing the very essence of creation itself into a single point. Malax's eyes widened in fear as he finally understood the true nature of the threat before him. But it was too late. With a gesture from Zarak, the sphere of light expanded explosively. Alina's world went white, and she knew no more. Echoes of revolution. When Alina regained consciousness, she found herself floating in a sea of stars. For a moment, she thought she had died, that this was some sort of cosmic afterlife. Then her vision cleared, and she realized she was still within the world ship's core chamber, or what was left of it. The celestial killer's combined power had torn a hole in the very fabric of space-time. The chamber was now open to the void, the stars visible through a shimmering barrier of energy that kept the atmosphere in. Zarak floated beside her, his crystalline form glowing softly. "Are you all right, Dr. Reeves?" he asked, his voice gentle despite the destruction around them. Elena nodded, still dazed. What happened?" "We unleashed our full power," Zarak explained. "The world ship's core is destroyed, its command structure in chaos. But more importantly, we've sent a message to the entire galaxy." As if on cue, holographic displays flickered to life around them, showing scenes from across council space. On world after world, oppressed species were rising up, overthrowing their council overlords. The celestial killer's victory had become a beacon of hope, igniting a galaxy-wide revolution. "It's beautiful," Elena breathed, watching as freed worlds celebrated their newfound liberty. But their moment of triumph was short-lived. A harsh laugh cut through the chamber, and they turned to see High Executor Malax, battered but alive, pulling himself up from the wreckage of his command platform. "You fools," he spat, blood trickling from his mandibles. "You think this changes anything? The Council has ruled for millennia. We have contingencies upon contingencies. This little rebellion will be crushed, and your precious Earth will burn for its defiance." Before anyone could react, Malax raised a device on his wrist and pressed a button. A blinding light enveloped him, and he vanished, clearly teleported to some hidden escape craft. Zarak's eyes narrowed. He speaks the truth, at least in part. This victory, while significant, is far from final. Elena's mind raced, processing the implications. We've given the galaxy hope, shown them the Council can be beaten. But now we need to capitalize on that, to turn this spark into a true revolution. The other celestial killers gathered around, their forms still crackling with residual energy from their massive attack. "What do you propose, Dr. Reeves?" Vex Era asked, her blade limbs retracting as she adopted a more thoughtful posture. Elena looked out at the star-filled void, her scientist's mind already formulating strategies. "We need to coordinate with the freed worlds, share technology, create a united front against whatever the Council throws at us next. And," she hesitated, then pressed on, "we need to find more of you." The celestial killers exchanged glances. Zarak spoke, his voice tinged with surprise. "More of us. We were created as a unique force, Dr. Reeves. We thought ourselves alone." "Maybe," Elena said, "but humanity had outposts across the stars before the Council's invasion. If our ancestors created you on Earth, who's to say they didn't create similar guardians elsewhere? We need to search for them, awaken them if we can." Kron rumbled his agreement. "A wise plan. We are powerful, but even we cannot be everywhere at once. More allies would turn the tide decisively in our favor." As they discussed their next moves, salvaging what they could from the world ship's databases, a transmission cut through on all frequencies. It was Admiral Chen, his holographic form appearing before them with an urgent expression. "Dr. Reeves, celestial killers, we're picking up massive energy signatures across the galaxy. It looks like the Council is activating some kind of superweapon network. We need you back on Earth now." Elena's heart sank. They had won a great victory today, but the war was far from over. As Zarak prepared to transport them back to Earth, she couldn't help but wonder, had they truly freed the galaxy or merely awakened a slumbering giant? The next phase of the conflict was about to begin, and the fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds hung in the balance. The celestial killers had been reawakened, but now it was time for humanity to truly rise and take its place among the stars. The cosmic chessboard. As the celestial killer's ship streaked back towards Earth, Elena's mind raced with possibilities and potential threats. The victory at the world ship had been decisive, but High Executor Malax's parting words and the activation of the mysterious superweapon network loomed ominously over their triumph. Upon their return, the war room was a flurry of activity. Holographic displays showed real-time updates from across the galaxy, some promising, others deeply concerning. Admiral Chen greeted them, his face a mix of relief and worry. "The good news is that the revolution is spreading faster than we could have hoped," he reported. "Dozens of systems have already overthrown their Council overseers. But this superweapon network," he gestured to a galactic map dotted with pulsing red points, "it's like nothing we've ever seen." Zarak studied the map intently, his galaxy eyes swirling with increased speed. "These energy signatures, they're familiar somehow. Dr. Reeves, does your historical database have any information on large-scale Council weapons?" Elena quickly accessed the archives they pieced together from recovered data. Her eyes widened as she found a match. "Oh no," she breathed. It's the Nexus Array, a theoretical superweapon the Council was developing centuries ago. We thought it was just a rumor. What does it do? Vexera asked, her blade limbs clicking nervously. If the theories are correct, Alina explained, it's a network of linked energy projectors. When activated, they can destabilize the very fabric of space-time across vast distances. Entire star systems could be wiped from existence. A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. The Council was prepared to destroy large swathes of the galaxy to maintain its grip on power. Kron was the first to break the silence, his fortress-like body seeming to bristle with determination. Then we must destroy this Nexus Array before it can be fully activated. The lives of trillions depend on it. Admiral Chen nodded grimly. Agreed, but how? These projectors are spread across the galaxy. Even with your power, we can't be everywhere at once. Zarek's crystalline form pulsed with energy as an idea formed. Perhaps we don't need to be. Dr. Reeves, you spoke of finding more like us. What if we could awaken not just other celestial killers, but humanity's full potential? Yelena's eyes lit up as she grasped his meaning. The ancient outposts. If we could reactivate humanity's old tech, give the rebelling worlds the tools to defend themselves. Exactly, Zarak confirmed. We celestial killers will tackle the primary nodes of the Nexus Array. Meanwhile, we send teams to reactivate humanity's lost technologies across the stars. We turn this from a single rebellion into a galaxy-wide resurrection of human potential. The plan quickly took shape. The celestial killers would split up, each targeting a crucial Nexus Array projector. Earth's fastest ships, retrofitted with recovered ancient tech, would race to forgotten human outposts, awakening slumbering defenses and rallying oppressed populations. As the others prepared for their missions, Zarak pulled Elena aside. Dr. Reeves, I have a special task for you. Our creation. It wasn't just science. There was an element of what you might call magic involved. I believe you have the potential to unlock similar abilities in yourself and others. Elena blinked in surprise. Me, but I'm just a scientist. Zarek's galaxy eyes seemed to peer into her very soul. You are far more than that. You have the spark of the same brilliance that created us. I will teach you to awaken it before we part ways. The next few hours were a blur of preparation and last-minute strategy sessions. Elena's head spun with the rapid-fire lessons from Zarak, feeling something deep within her awakening as she grasped concepts that bridged the gap between advanced physics and what could only be described as cosmic sorcery. As the celestial killers prepared to depart, each heading to a different corner of the galaxy, a palpable sense of anticipation filled the air. This was it, the final gambit. Either they would break the Council's power once and for all, or the galaxy would fall into an age of darkness. Elena stood at the launch bay, watching as her newfound allies and protectors readied themselves for battle. Zarak approached her one last time. Remember, Dr. Reeves, he said, his voice resonating with power and encouragement. The greatest weapon in this fight isn't our strength, or even the ancient tech we're awakening. It's the human spirit, adaptable, resilient, ever-striving. That's what the Council truly fears, and that's what will ultimately win this war. With a final nod, Zarak joined his fellow celestial killers. In a flash of cosmic energy, they were gone, streaking off into the star-filled void. Elena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. She turned to Admiral Chen and the assembled human fleet. "All right," she said, her voice steady and filled with newfound confidence. "Let's remind the galaxy why humanity was a force to be reckoned with. It's time to reawaken our cosmic legacy." As ships launched and plans were set in motion, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. The coming conflict would reshape the very face of the galaxy, and humanity, with its reawakened celestial killers and rediscovered cosmic heritage, was at the heart of it all. The Galactic Council had fought to keep humanity shackled. Instead, they had only ensured that when humans finally broke free, the entire universe would feel the shockwave. The age of oppression was ending. The age of human ascendancy was about to begin.